Hey, what up, everybody? Tim Castleman here. Welcome to another edition of the Two Drink Tim podcast. I am your host, Tim Castleman. I just said that. Hopefully you realize it's like episode 5,000. So if you don't know that I host the damn thing, get out of here. I want to talk to you guys about the last musical episode we did. We had it with the O's. The feedback and support have been tremendous, and I thought, you know what, let's do more of that. And I'm honored and excited to bring my latest music crush to you guys. These are, which is a crazy way to describe, but I mean, these guys, I caught them at a live show probably less than 6 months ago, maybe even 3 months ago. And I think I've seen them now 5 or 6 times. I actually just saw them last night so we could have some fun stuff to talk about on the podcast. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put a big virtual warm welcome together right out of the 806 for Flatland Cavalry.
How you doing?
It's that awkward intro, but you're like, do I say something? Do I not? So we don't have the whole band here because legitimately people are taking tests and still in school. That's how young these guys are. But I am honored to have the lead singer, Cleto Cordero. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Fuck, I didn't mess that up. Yes.
Cleto
right?
or Cleto like a meadow is how I usually tell people.
Cleto like a meadow. I will
like
remember.
a meadow of flowers, and girls are like, that's cute. And then some guys are like, oh, yeah. I won't forget that.
Now I see why you write love songs. I love that. And the easier to pronounce Laura Jane, who is with us as well. Yes. So Cleto is the lead singer and lead guitarist, and Laura plays the fiddle, not the violin, which is exactly what I wrote down. I was like, fiddle, not violin, different instrument. And they make up the dynamic duo that heads up Flatland Cavalry. So first, thank you guys again so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
You guys have had a crazy couple of months that I want to talk about. I mean, we're talking about, you had a new EP drop, your very first deal. You recorded a music video. You spent $20 on Facebook, and before you knew it, you had a booking agency.
Yeah,
so
it was bizarre.
There's so much I want to get into about what you guys are doing right now, but I always like to know how bands come to be. So how did Flatland Cavalry come into existence?
I moved to Lubbock to go to Texas Tech, but like I had the dream of playing music. Like that's why I came to Lubbock, because I got into UT and Texas Tech. And I was like, well, I can move to Austin because that's the live music capital of the world. And I quote, using my fingers, but it's like, I can be a little fish in a big pond or try to go to Lubbock and be a big fish in a little pond. And everything was pointed, I heard the blue light, and I came here to play music. I went to school, and I always say I gave my degree to my mom, put it in my back pocket, and, but I came here to play music. Me and my drummer moved down, we were roommates. We're still roommates to this day, but we would go to every open mic night. I remember the first week we moved down here, we go to every open mic night. We went to Witch because we saw they had a stage. I mean, we went everywhere, and it just fate worked out, and like we ran into a guy that was at an open mic. We showed up to an open mic on Bar PM on Sunday, and I was the only kid that showed up, and the guy that put it on happened to be a bass player, and he's like, hey man, you want to get together and jam? I think he saw that we were good, and he gave us our number, and he got us on Broadway, and we started jamming. And then he ended up graduating, or he was already a graduate from Tech, and he got a teaching job in Houston. So he moved, and I'm like, man, what's Flatline going to do? It's just me and the drummer again. And, we ended up finding, we met Laura at a party, we played like this house party. It was like something out of a movie, it had little speakers and everything set up.
Like Animal House almost?
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was cool. And we met Laura, we introduced to Laura, and got her number. We didn't end up texting her until like 3 months later. We're like,
all right, I got to stop right there. So random dude meets you at a party, right,
yes.
in a band, and asks for your number, and you think, oh yes, this is all about music.
That's a great idea.
Right?
We were introduced. It wasn't like, hey, what's up? It was like,
it wasn't creepy in the kitchen or something.
Yeah, my buddy was like, hey man, I want you to meet Laura. Laura was his teacher.
Oh,
our buddy Joey, he plays for the Crooks now.
Okay.
He's a drummer for the Crooks.
Okay.
And Joey introduced us, and
yeah, he came up after class one day.
You were a teacher for what?
I'm a TA at Tech.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm a TA for music. He came up after class. He's like, hey, I'm having this party at my house tonight. Bring your fiddle and come. I was like, oh, okay. I should have said no, but
I just love that random guys can be like, hey, house party, fiddle, bring it. And you're like, yeah,
and dude, it was a good party. They had 2 Shiner kegs, and that's how I met Laura. So it was me, always been me and Jason. We met Laura.
Who's your drummer, right?
Yes,
Jason the drummer,
met Laura,
right?
Texted her 3 months later, and we're like, hey man, we got this fiddle player's number. We never called her. You want to see if she want to jam with us? We played at Crickets that night or something, our local, and we called her, and she's like, yeah, sure thing. And we ended, I guess she liked playing with us after that, and the rest is history. And then we went through, bass players were just so hard to come by, and we finally, my buddy Joey, again, drummer for Crooks, he would tell me, everyone at Blue Light was like, we were a cover band for like a year, and everyone's like, I'd go to Blue Light every Monday, like religiously, and play my songs. They're like, man, when are you gonna get your band together? Like, why don't y'all guys play up here? And I was like, Blue Light is not a band, it's not a place to play covers. I want to play my songs, and we're just not there yet. And he's like, dude, everyone is asking me, when are you gonna play up here, man? Like, we want to hear these songs come to life. And Joey told me, just book a show, man. He's like, that's what we, such and such did, Randall King or blah, blah, blah. And he's like, book a show 2 months in advance, and you can't not do it. So book it in advance and then work towards it. And I was like, you know what? I just, had faith, and this is back, and I'm still a nobody, but I was a nobody back then. And I remember sending up the email, I typed it up to Parker, who plays guitar for Hog Molly's. He does the booking there. Hey, Parker's Clutto, man, me and my band, I got a band together, and, looking to finally play Blue Light, man. Any opportunity would be great. They gave us a Tuesday night or whatever, and I just remember being so shy and stuff, like, hey man, I believe we have the talent and are entertaining enough to entertain a crowd for 2 hours. I was pleading my points, I think we're entertaining enough to play for 2 hours. We have a good following, this, that, and finally he's like, sure, man, how does Tuesday, June 4th sound? And I was like, oh my gosh, and I texted everyone, we're so excited, we got Tuesday at the Blue Light and all that stuff. And anywho, yeah.
But you didn't have the thing I want to be clear is you didn't have a band. You had three, right?
Yeah. And I went off on a tangent.
No.
Getting back
great.
to we didn't have the band. Yes, so it was me and Laura and Jason. We had a temporary bass player for a time, but he had a baby, and he played in another band, Run Home Jack, another local Lubbock band, and he had a baby, so he had to. That came first. So he respectfully, left, and he's like, hey man, I'm sorry, but I told everyone, hey, we're playing Blue Light, and he's like, yeah, I accept and all this stuff, but he was having a baby, and he ended up not being able to do it. So here I am, 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks out before the Blue Light show, and I don't have a bass player. We found this guitar player, Reed Dillon, who's our guitar player now. I was in a business fraternity when I was at Tech, and his older brother was he was the member of that business fraternity, and we were eating Taco Tuesday. We invited him. I'm telling you, everything happened just by the grace of God. Hey man, Wes doesn't seem like a weirdo. Let's invite Wes to Taco Tuesday, because we go to Taco Tuesday all the time at Rosa's, and we invite Wes out, and man, I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. I booked Blue Light, and I don't have a guitar player and all this stuff. And he's like, my brother plays a guitar. I was like, dude, but he can't suck. He's like, he doesn't suck, man. He just plays in his room. He's like a machine. I'll give him a chance. I brought him over on a Sunday, and I was like, dude, do you want to play for this band I'm putting together? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. That's how he is. He's just real quiet.
Yeah, he seems like a real quiet, shy guy. Like last night at the show, I was sitting behind him. I didn't realize who he was till he turned around. But he just was he was attached to the wall. You could not get him off that thing, Yeah. And you are right. He is a legit guitar player. When he jams out and stuff like that, he definitely is. But so that's 2 weeks there. So you've got the first band together.
Yes.
The first alliteration. And has it stayed? I mean, it stayed pretty much since that day.
Yes, that band came together in May, the end of May, and it's been the same lineup, and that's what I always wanted. And we met we acquired the guitar player first, and I got off track, but the bass player, 2 weeks out, he's like, I'm sorry, man, I can't do it. I think his baby's mother put the foot down and said, you're not going to play music anymore, whatever.
Right.
But
that's what caused this baby in the first place.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. No, and I mean, no hard feelings there or anything, but we're like, what am I going to do? So I remember calling everyone, and and I would keep going back to God. I give him all the credit. I go, just asked him for help, and I ended up the last person that I had their contact, and I just overlooked it. It was the last person I could possibly call, and I called this guy Jonathan Sines, and I was like, he used to play for Dolly Shine. I was like, man, this guy's a big timer and all this stuff. Like,
he's not going to play with me.
And all this stuff. So I call him, and I leave him this voicemail, and sure enough, I was like, hey man, it's Cloto. My band Flatland Cavalry is looking for a bass player. We're playing Blue Light June 4th. If you'd like to play with us, blah blah blah. And he finally called me back. He left me a voicemail. Yeah, man, I got your voicemail, and yeah, man, I'm down to jam. And I remember he came to practice one day, and we had, like I said, we tried a lot of people, and they were awful. A majority of them were awful. Like, I bring him to rehearsal, Reed had half a buddy, and he just couldn't keep up. And I would say it respectfully, but all right, man, we're going to go through this song and just follow along. You're a bass player.
Right.
But, I mean, they were terrible. And finally they called Johnny, and Johnny shows up to rehearsal, and you know, Brent pulls out his gear and everything, and we just start jamming, and he just follows right along like we've been playing forever. And we all looked at him, and we're just like,
we instantly knew he was.
after the first song, yeah, we're like,
He was a Flatland.
dude, so I'm just go ahead and say it. Do you want to play it in our band? He's like, yeah, okay. And we were just like, no, but I'm serious. I'm not being weird, but like, I mean, are you sure about this? Like, I mean, I don't have to ask you again. He's like, no, yeah, man, I think I'm in. And I'm like, dude, we're just so happy. We're like, thank God it was 2 weeks.
Song. That's crazy.
Yeah,
One
he
song.
it was slow down.
Yeah.
He just picked it up like, I mean, instantly. And then, like I said, so 2 weeks out, finally had the band together before the Blue Light show, and we just worked. I mean, we played every day.
Every day for like 4 hours.
4 hours a day. We rehearsed every day, and we got these songs they weren't even charted. They were just acoustic, so everyone put their parts to it in 2 weeks, and we played Blue Light, and I mean, that's the band we've had. And the cool thing is, we played Blue Light June 4th. That was our first Blue Light show, 2014. And we brought out so many people on a Tuesday night, and just friends and friends of friends. And I think that people were kind of like, oh, this is something. They got something here, you know. And the most awesome part about it is we signed with like AMG verbally. I mean, maybe we didn't physically sign the document that day, but, you know, verbal agreement. Hey, man, we're in. With the Atomic Music Group, June 4th of 2015. So exactly a year to the date, our first show ever, we were signed to a booking agent.
Dude, there's so much in there that I think is just admirable. Like, one, that you said, hey, we're going to take this leap of faith. We don't have it all figured out, but we know what we're going to do, and it'll just happen. And if it doesn't, well, you know, we'll suffer through, like, say, if we need to get somebody, we'll do that. You know, but then to just have the courage to be like, okay, we're going to just go do our own thing. And then to have such a core group of people that now that's been the band since then. I haven't said it on this podcast, but I know I've told you guys countless times. You know, I think especially, I had no idea June last year was your very first show, but like you guys are technically sound. Like every time I've seen you, you guys are on point. It's not like it's you know, you see some bands and it's like sometimes they kill it, and then some you're like they're either too drunk or they're just off or they're just not in tune musically. And you guys just amaze me by how tight of a performance you guys put on for only doing this for a year as a group. I mean, that's pretty remarkable, you know, and I mean, hats off to you guys. And one of the things that impresses me about you guys that I don't get with a lot of other bands that I'm friends with is that, you know, you take this very seriously. Like we've been trying to book this podcast for a while, and it's like, okay, well, we've got this practice, we've got this, like you guys practice a ton, right?
Yeah, we try to rehearse. I mean, we
yeah,
could always practice more, but
right.
We take it seriously. We don't want to go out there and sound like shit, because, you know, that speaks more than anything. Oh, yeah, hey, guys, buy our CD after the show. They're like, y'all guys were terrible. I'm never going to spend my $5 again and watch y'all. Why would you? You know, if you put on a bad show, it carries over. And maybe they'll give you a second chance, but, you know, your live show is your selling point. And then the people that hear about you, your CD, oh, yeah, like, man, we've had a lot of awesome comments about the CD, but they're like, I can't wait to see the live show. But when they do, and I don't say arrogantly, they're going to be like, they will be hooked because we work on the live show so that people will want to see it again. Not like, that sucked. Why would you buy the CD? Why would you buy the full album? Why? Because you're not going to be able to see them live. They suck.
Yeah, I mean, they're never going to be on the podcast, so I can go ahead and out them. But like, we went and saw the Lumineers, right? Me and my buddy Chase. We went all the way up to Tulsa. We made our special trip and all that. They have one album. It's like 56 minutes long. They played that album from beginning to finish. It was a 90-minute set, and they played nothing but covers after that. No songs in progress, no anything. And it was just like, we did the exact thing that you said. We were like, I'll never see these guys again. I'm never buying an album from them, because if you can't, and I mean, that CD had been out since like 2010, so it wasn't like it was a new release. It's like, you don't have anything, like the record label hasn't written you any new songs, like you didn't pay a publishing guy once to write you some, you know. And I love it, and I think that's one of the reasons that I love you guys so much is I love when I go and I hear an album and then I go to the show and I'm like, okay, buy the album, throw it away, you know, and then go see them live, because the show, you're in for a treat, instead of like I was with the Lumineers, where it's like, don't spend your money doing that, you know. And I think that's true. And not only does that seriousness, I think, pay off to fans, but it also pays off to booking agents and stuff like that, because especially as you guys try to expand, you know, word about your show is going to get around, and you definitely want it like, oh, that was awesome, compared to like, they got drunk, they shit in the green room, they tore everything up, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man, I'd rather, like I said, not everyone's going to like your music, and I don't expect everyone to like my stuff, but I've even said it about people that don't like me, or, you know, we've had people say bad stuff about us. I was like, when you come to our show, you're gonna tap your feet and you're gonna like the music, or if you don't, like whatever. But I've still seen people be like,
yeah.
You know, so
it's always convincing when the haters go, oh, that guy's got a good point.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, that's what we try to do is put on a good show so people want to come back again and, you know, be good to people and, you know, it's business, you know.
So clearly it's not the same genre, but along the same lines, this interview, I can never find it. If anyone from the podcast ever finds it, please send it to me. But I remember watching Rage Against the Machine. This back when they did the Woodstock, the second coming of it. They had, like, that's back when Limp Bizkit was huge and stuff like that. And they did an interview with the lead singer of Limp Bizkit, and they were like, so, you know, you guys are opening up for Limp Bizkit, and, you know, you got all these fans, and you got blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, we are. He said, but listen, he said, we're Rage Against the Machine. We play second to no one. We are here to steal the audience. That's what we're doing. He's like, I don't care who goes on after us. They're going to have to put their fucking feet together. Like, he's like, they're going to have to do work to beat us. And they came out and they did a killer set. And I think as an opener, you know, one of the benefits is a lot of times your headlining act, the guys that typically play after you, are bringing the audience, but it's really your chance to impress those people. Which kind of brings me to my next question, which is, obviously you've been playing together for a year, but like, what type of music inspired you when you grew up, when you listened? Like, what were some of the musical influences that you guys have had?
Mostly when I first started playing guitar, once I figured it out, I learned like every song John Mayer ever wrote. So that's how I learned how to play.
That's right. I forgot you were a Closet Mayer fan.
Yeah, Closet Mayer fan. Yeah, it came out. But,
Body is one. I'm sorry, I don't want to bring back the bad memories for you.
That's when people, you know, note my guitar playing. You know, they say, oh, he's not just a guy that just kind of strums chords. I like to, you know, play guitar. But that's how I learned was John Mayer. And then my buddy turned me on to Texas country, Randy Rogers, and, you know, and that's why I started learning melodies and stuff. But my biggest influence, once I found Turnpike Troubadours, like, I just loved, it was lyrical, you know, the melodies were amazing, and the musicianship. And I was like, I wanted to have a band, and like, you sound like anyone that plays music or something, we're all faking it. We're trying to sound like, you know, our heroes. And your sound ends up being, you know, like John Mayer said it, you know, the failure of your idols. So like, a lot of people say we sound like Turnpike, but I just adore Turnpike's sound, and I just wanted to something even
to
similar.
Emulate it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's Tom Mooney wrote this piece on us last week for Knee Sling, and he had said, like, gave me chill bumps. So it was really nice words he said, but you know, it's the closest thing to Turnpike Troubadours in some time. And I was like, that's so cool, because I never told anyone. I didn't talk to him and tell him, hey man,
we're trying to sound like Turnpike.
It's just It just came out musically, and someone heard it. You know, their brain defined it as sounds like Turnpike. But you know, that's what I envisioned 2 or 3 years ago. But
and
it's just crazy.
I think that's key. I mean, I think everybody at the beginning, because we don't know what we're doing, we emulate. You know, like even with this podcast, it's like there's 3 or 4 that I listen to that I'm like, man, if I could just be half as good as those people, you know? And I think we all do that. Funny, back in the day, a lot of people who listen to the podcast know this, but you guys don't. Like, I used to do stage hypnosis. So I'd go around to colleges and high schools and hypnotize people and stuff.
Open up for us sometime?
Yeah. Actually, I've seen comedians open up for bands. It does not go well. Do not do that. But I remember there was a guy that I liked so much, I emulated him so much that I did this one bit one time and it didn't work. And I recorded all my shows, so I went back and I watched it. And the reason the bit didn't work is I was redoing the bit as he did it on the video. Like all the names. So like this guy's name was John, and in the video it was like Sean. So like everything, it was like Sean. And he kept looking at me, and I was like, because it had just become so much a part of me. And that's not who I am now, but it got me started. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you say you love John Mayer, you say all those things. I think it's great to have that foundation. You know, comedy, there's certain comedians that I love that I would, if I ever try to do that, I would totally emulate. You know, I'd go as far as to be like, fuck yeah, I'm stealing that joke. Like that joke killed on that special, you know. But over time, you grow into be your own sound.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And that's awesome. So how about you? Or how about for musical influences? I mean, I'm sure fiddle got to be a little harder to find bands that have a lead fiddle player.
It's true, but there's a lot of, I love solo fiddling, like the contest stuff. So I listen to a lot of that. I actually did my master's thesis and now my dissertation on it too. But I was also trained classically, so I love classical music and fiddle. So that's kind of my sound is a little
Holy
bit
cow,
both.
classical fiddle player.
Yeah, it's I literally have to turn it off, play one or the other. No, I was concertmaster in high school and all that stuff, but fiddle is really what drew my heart. So
Wow, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I always think, like, there's one song you guys do. I think it's more, I can't remember if it's a cover or if it's one, but I always listen to it. I'm always like, it sounds like The Devil Went to Georgia. It almost sounds like she's trying to start there, and then it goes a totally different way. And I'm always like, I wonder if Charlie Daniels, like, he's got to influence people. And one of the bands that I really love, Honey Honey, they have a lead vocalist, and she's a fiddle player and banjo and all these other things. And it's just amazing to see that instrument is really kind of coming on the scene more. Like, you see a lot now, even the band that opened for you guys, they had a keyboard player. It's like, you're seeing more musical influences, and it's not just your standard 4 or 5 piece band when it comes from that. So you guys do your first show, and then you decide, okay, do a couple more. Tell me about the process when it comes to doing the EP, because you guys just released this EP. It's called
Come May.
All right, and it's got 5 songs on it, right? And
Yeah.
it's amazing, and it's awesome, and you guys need to pick it up. First of all, where can people buy that?
You can get it through any distributor, like iTunes, Amazon. It should be on Amazon, but I mean, those guys take a while to.
Right.
They put it out when they want to. And
Right.
They don't talk to you, and they're not going to tell me, hey, Flatland, your stuff's on Spotify, because they deal with so many people. But should be on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, all that good stuff.
That's awesome.
Google Play, maybe.
So I'm trying to think, like, the thing as an outsider that's not in the business is, let me start with this question. You guys, 23, 24, around that age, like, you guys were the Napster generation. Like, you guys grew up with the internet, right? Can you ever remember a time? Like, I remember a time when you had to...
Well, I'm Mexican, so I didn't really grow up with the internet.
Oh, there you go. Okay. But you saw all the white people grow up with the internet, right? Like, I want more of that.
I
in my
had
life.
it. He didn't.
Yeah. Right. Now I get it. Like, I borrowed Laura's internet.
We had dial-up till I was like in freshman or sophomore in college.
Yeah, isn't it funny? Like, Mom, get off the phone. I gotta look at naked photos at 22 MBS here. Like, so you guys kind of grew up in the Napster generation where music was kind of shared. It's free. You saw guys like, I remember in my day, like Guns N' Roses. They'd have these multi-million-dollar albums. They'd sell 5, 10, 15, 20, 35, 45 million copies of all their works, and that just doesn't happen nowadays. Like Taylor Swift, believe it or not, was the only platinum album last year. That's the only one. And more bands, it's like gold is the new standard. So knowing all that, what made you guys say, like, yeah, we still want to record an EP and put it out there for our fans?
Like the fact that people can get it for free?
Well, seeing kind of how music has been, in a way, devalued, and it's become more commodity-based than.
Oh, okay, that's a good question. I just always wanted to, write. I guess, like, money is a byproduct of success. It's not the goal. I just wanted to write songs that, speak to people. So if people like your music, they're going to go to a live show, and you're going to pay you're going to get your money somehow. But it's like, we just wanted to record the songs because, like, even if, like I said, money's not, obviously you need money to live, to eat, and all that stuff, but we just wanted to put the songs out there because we knew they were good songs, and we believed in it, and we hoped people would too. And then if it helped someone out, oh man, I just had a heartbreak, I'm missing someone right now too, or shit, I'm studying and I'm on Adderall right now, and this song just kills right now, I'm smoking cigarettes and Adderall. It's like, if it touched any people in any way, that's a currency in itself. I don't really care much for money.
So it wasn't the money, it was more to spread the word and get the word out there, and then allow people to kind of experience that music in their own time, in their own way.
Yeah, maybe someone would think that's cheesy, but people that, if you do it solely for money, you're gonna put out stuff that is so commercial that, for the sheeple to listen to, that you're gonna end up sounding, like Luke Bryan or something. I'm not calling out Luke Bryan because I'm a nobody. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, if money is your only goal, you're not really caring about the music. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it to make money, so you're gonna put out garbage. So we're putting out art, and money is a byproduct of success.
So to me, money obviously is a focus, and I totally get that.
Of course, we're in the business of making money, but
right? But you're more about the art and the creative process and sharing that journey with people than more the money. And you talk about Luke Bryan. Luke, if you're don't want to listen to the podcast, that's fine. I'll lose that
I'm
listener.
pretty sure I'm not the only person that
Yeah.
thinks Brian is terrible.
But,
He's not a bad person, but his music's off.
I even talked about this with the O's. Like, from what I've seen is like all the people that did all the pop, and made that real popular, what they did is they just went to country and they just used that same formula to build these ones. And that's why you have all these songs that, you even see it on YouTube, like they do where they loop different songs and different artists, and they're identical because, they talk about beer and they talk about jeans and pickup trucks, and it's just like, I grew up, my parents were huge country fans, of Kenny Rogers and Randy Travis and, like old country. Like, I know you're a fan of Sturgill. You do a great Sturgill cover. Like, that's why I think I like Sturgill so much, because he reminds me of that. But those were people that were like artists. They wrote, they played their own music, they sung their own songs, and now it's like, who can we put into this box? And then, okay, here's the songs that you kind of sing. It definitely seems. So for you, how do you navigate the music business knowing that they're kind of looking for people they can turn into hit makers more than people like you guys, where you have a unique sound and unique feel?
Yeah, dude, a lot of good questions. I just always, I said John Mayer is one of my people I looked up to when I was younger, and now I listen to more country, but I watched him in an interview, and he said, all I ever wanted to do was be listenable, and I just took that to heart. That's whenever I was writing songs in my bedroom at 17, and I, didn't have no friends or nothing. I didn't go out, and I wasn't the cool kid in high school, but I'd sit there and write songs, but I would listen to Randy Rogers, and I'd be like, I went to Randy Rogers' concert, and I'd come home and I'd be like, how would Randy sing this? Or how would people that I look up to, how would they wrote this song? How would they sing it? How would they voice it? And I just copy people. I'd base it off of that, and I always wanted to be listenable. So, I guess to answer your question, you can have good musicianship and be commercial too. And I feel like we straddle that line pretty good. Our songs are catchy. People will hear them once and they'll sing them along, but they're not just garbage lyrics,
Right.
But I don't know. I think that.
Well, that's as a fan and someone that's listened to your album about 1 million times so far. I might have a problem. I need to go to rehab for it. But that's what I love about your guys' music is that there's stories contained within the song. It's just not like, my bitch better have my money.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rihanna, right? Or like that where you're just like, there's you listen to that song, you're like, what the fuck was that song about?
Exactly.
Instead of here's a story about love and loss. Here's a story about recovering from a breakup. And you almost get these mental, when I listen to your guys' album or albums, you get mental pictures of the story that was going on. And like you say, it's almost a way that you can experience that with that person. I think you guys do a great job. And I think, with my amateur psychology degree, that the reason you write so many damn love songs is the John Mayer influence, I think.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, see that to myself, I always say that at shows, I'm like, I don't write a lot of love songs, but I guess I do, but they're more like heartbreak songs. I get that from Randy Rogers more, but yeah, I'm not really lovey-dovey, but we have Summertime Love and Love Me in the Water, but I guess we do have a few love songs, but yeah.
See, that's called a therapy breakthrough right there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Recently, we don't have that many love songs.
Yeah, I think it was a stage, like I said.
Your high school stage.
Yeah, my high school stage, man. I was,
I get it, right? You're at home. I'm guessing you don't have a girlfriend at that time?
No, back in high school?
Yeah.
No, I went through the high school breakup, and I quote, oh, she did me so wrong, all this stuff, and I wrote all those tunes. But
right.
I always say that too. I'm like, I'm a terrible liar. I can write a shitty song, trust me. But I'm saying I can't people are like, oh man, that song is so good. Why was it good? Because they felt it. Why? Because it's real.
Because you felt it.
Yeah, exactly. I can't just throw lyrics together and be like, oh, that was a great song. It's like, no, it's something that happened. It just happens to be in 4/4 time, and it has a good melody. But it's a real story. You know what I mean?
So that brings me to my next question, which is your guys' creative process. So, we're Facebook official friends now, right? And I saw the other day that you just took your iPhone and you recorded a song and you were playing it for people and stuff like that. So how do you collect ideas for songs? Kind of what's your guys' process from idea
Laura does all the songwriting.
I do. It's a secret. I'm actually...
What?
Oh, yeah. And then I just hear Cleto. No.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
The news exclusive here. Yeah.
It's a secret.
Is it collaborative, Laura? Is it, or
no,
is
not
it where
at
he
all.
kind of brings a song and then you guys kind of find the instrument? So what is the process for you guys to go?
He writes all of them. I think he sits in his room, and writes a good song.
No, I do.
Or sits in the garage
I don't
drinking
do much
beer.
writing. I don't know how many songs I've actually in the past year or so. I do. It's all in my head. I don't ever write shit down, which I probably should. But I'm always writing a song. yeah, I'm always thinking of stuff when I'm driving, you know, I hear a melody or something, or I'm always thinking about stuff, and then finally, when it gets to that point, maybe I'll write it down all at one time, but that's why it takes me a long time to do stuff, but I just live, man. I mean, you know, like you said, it's...
So you get your inspiration from living.
Yeah, just from being alive, and times are hard. When times are hard, you write a sad songs. When times are great, you write a love song, you know, and, you know, I guess that just so happened why people enjoy it. I think people enjoy our music because it's relatable. That's all it is. It's just, I'm just writing stuff. Like I went through a recent breakup, and I mean, now things are great, but at the time, A Life Where We Work Out, that was that new song you're talking about, you know. What would life be like if things had worked out and you got married and had kids, and, you know, you got a front porch and you're sitting there watching your kids and watching the sunset and, you know, pulling off on a dirt road and banging your wife or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
it was really romantic until you said that.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want people to think, man, that guy's a big softie.
Yeah. So, you know
what
I loved her tenderly, and then I just pulled off the dirt road and I just banged her right there. We're like, okay, all right.
Yeah, that probably wasn't very smart. I'm sorry,
dude,
Mom, if you're listening.
Yeah. Mijo, I tell you better than this.
Mijo, it was really cute until you said bang.
Yeah. It's like, I have some friends. We actually, we met them down in Mexico at this resort, and they were newlyweds. They're on their honeymoon, and they were talking about how they met and all that. And I was like, it was like romantic, you know, it was a super romantic story. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And they were like, yeah, we met at this concert and we had a great time and all that. And then I took them to a porta potty and we had sex. And I was like, see, up until that point, it was like an Oprah moment. And then you ruined it with and we had porta potty sex. Like, you know,
well, I apologize to all the listeners that are PG, but
and there's no PG listeners here, I promise you.
It's just
so it's a time process. You have to live life and you have to experience those things.
Exactly. My dad used to tell me, you need to be, you know, writing new stuff and all that stuff, and I would just tell him, when I'm ready to write that song, it's going to come out whether I want to or not. But they used to be more, you need to start writing, they weren't, but not in a negative way, they're so supportive, but just like, you working on anything new? And I'd be like, oh, not here lately, just it's all up here. Right. But whenever I wrote that new song, A Life Where We Work Out, he heard it and he really liked it, and he's like, it finally clicked to him. He told me, I finally understand what you're saying about, you know, because I used to tell him, I was like, you know, I can write a song, but it's going to be terrible. If you want me to write a song right now, I mean, it's going to be a terrible song, but it takes time for, you know, I'm just try to be real. So
it's your creative process. Yeah. That's what I try to explain to people too when I'm doing different things. It's like, we're always creative people. I find their brain is always on, and it's always taking that time. And it's like, it may not look like, I always joke with my wife, I'm like, I know it looks like I'm killing prostitutes here in Grand Theft Auto, but I'm really working on whatever it is that I need to do, just because you have to give your brain time to kind of bring that stuff to the forefront and make you feel like, man, okay, now I'm ready to finally do that. Yeah. So you write it, and then how does it go from you writing it to kind of bringing the band? Laura, what's your process with that? Like when he brings something to the group, is that something where you guys kind of sit down and you say, okay, I think I've got something here?
We don't. We just kind of, it used when it just was Cleto and me playing his original stuff. I hadn't even heard it half the time. He'd just tell me the key and be like, oh, okay, I can play that. But now we kind of sit together, I guess, if you want to call that a process. We're in band practice. He's like, I wrote a new song, guys. We're just sitting on the porch drinking, beer in the garage and wrote a new song, and everyone just kind of starts jamming, and then something good comes out of it, or it doesn't.
So at what point do you guys get it to a point where you're like, okay, we're ready to either write this or track it, like to where, because I mentioned consistency. I mean, I understand the creative process takes a little bit, but where do you guys kind of flatline that to where, okay, this is how we're going to play it a majority of the time?
I think recording helped out a lot with that. It's not, before we recorded, we were kind of just like, we don't know how things work. You go in the studio and I guess you play stuff, right, and they record it. It's like, no, you do your homework, and it is written down to the second what you're going to play. And like, I think everyone has that mentality now of, we're not just going to play some bullshit. Like they write their parts, like, so that every time we play it the same, it's not just mumbo jumbo. But recording helped out a lot with that. Even for myself, like, don't waste a line in a song, or does that chord need to really be there at the end? And like you were asking me if Reed, does he play the same solo every time? And I'm like, yeah, dude, Reed's like a robot. I'm telling you, without even me telling him, he would just, I'm going to write a solo to that, and plays it the exact same every time. So there's a consistency there,
Wow. So recording really kind of helped bring that a little structure maybe to that process.
I mean, that's the end goal, like we play live shows, and the live show can differ, but recording is forever. Right. You know what I'm saying? So people are going to hear that every time, but you can't go in the studio and be like, Scott, our producer, he's like, I I've seen some badasses, they go in the studio and they're just like, we'll just do it live and we'll feel it. He's like, I was never that good. He's a great guitar player, but he's like, I had to practice and write it down. But I've seen some guys that can do that. But,
Right.
It's a lot of preparation. You just got to kind of know what your end goal is for the song.
So for coming, how it was 6 songs?
Five.
And how long of a recording process was it for you guys?
We started recording, hit record in January, the last week of January, I think. And we didn't wrap it. We didn't start till it was over. And we got the CDs in hand was like a week before our CD release, so it was in May. So it took like 5 months of recording and mixing and all that stuff. But the actual like recording, going in there and playing instruments, that took a few months.
Right.
But I mean, you can. Scott's told me, man, if we wanted to, we can rent the whole studio for a whole month, and you can record every single day, and we can have it mixed, mastered, at the end of a month. But sometimes quality will suffer because you don't have that extra night of sleep of, did I like that mix, or you know what I mean? So
right.
It's a long process. It's a very long process, and I absolutely hate recording, like with a passion. But I mean, it's necessary.
Right, and you get to do it again here when you guys do
Yes.
a full album here.
Yeah,
pretty
full
quick.
album's gonna be I mean, I never thought when I finally got the mastered CD back to me, and like I told you that. I mean, I pulled it up and it said like 18 minutes or something and 6 seconds. And I was like, hey, Jason, come in here. And I was like, look at that, dude. 18 minutes and 6 seconds cost $6,000. I was like, isn't that insane? $6,000 and a lot of who knows how much time and how much, blood, sweat, and tears and sleepless nights. But it's finally here. But it's just crazy how expensive it is,
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I definitely want to talk about that for sure, about how young bands are able to support themselves and how fans can support you guys. So you release the album, or you're getting ready to release. You guys do a music video, which is pretty awesome, right? And that was just a combination, if I remember us talking about this earlier, it's just a combination of live shots from different venues you guys had played. And then did you actually hire a videographer?
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, like I said, it's not a religious podcast or nothing, but I'm telling you, I give credit to God because everything has always worked out in my favor.
Right.
People are always like, man, y'all are really great, or man, I love the video, or they say such nice things. But I told Laura the other day, I was like, I just feel, I don't feel guilty, but I'm like, I'm not doing very much. I'm just doing a little bit, and
right.
things just work out in our favor. We met the videographer. People find us.
Right.
He reached out to us and said, hey, man, I've been wanting to work with you for a while, and he gave us a great deal. And now we're good buddies. We went to West Texas Live and had a few beers. Like, he's a good guy, Tanner Griggs of Nighthawk Productions, but makes great videos. And just like, these people seeked us out, and I didn't have to do anything. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they came to you, right?
Yeah, I don't mean that arrogantly. It's just everything is always fell into place. Like with meeting Laura, what are the odds? I would have met her maybe at Blue Light or something later, but it was all the situation that I got just invited off the cuff. Come to this party.
Right.
So we met Laura and we got her number, and now we play. I mean, who knows if we'd be playing
Then you ignored
together.
her for 3 months.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
And then he
yeah.
invites me over to his garage to jam. Why did I say yes? Okay.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So a
Sure
little naive
thing.
on her part. She's like, sure, a bunch of guys, a garage, bring my fiddle. Okay.
Call me up.
Yeah.
I can't speak for everyone in the band, but I can speak for myself. When I don't know how they feel about all that stuff, but I just feel like it's fate, or just have God, someone's looking out for us, that things just work out. You just offering us this podcast. Why do you want to talk to me for an hour? Like,
Right.
I don't know, but it's like just have a lot of cool opportunities. People seem to like us. I don't know. I always joke around. It's like maybe it's my boy charm, but it's like
All those damn love songs. We
Yeah.
just fall over.
it's just
right?
It's crazy, man. I don't know. And like with recording, people were so generous. People in life are always going to tell you what you can't do.
Right.
That doesn't take any work. Oh, you can't do that. You're going to be a musician? That's not ever going to work out. But, the lady that our project manager at Pledge Music told me, no, I don't think you can raise $5,000. She's like, I think we should set a modest goal at $2,000. And she's doing her job.
Right.
Because if we don't make the money, they don't make money.
Right. Yeah.
So she
'Cause
told me
with Pledge, right? If it doesn't fund, you're
yeah,
out.
we're done. So
Yeah.
I was like, $2,000 ain't gonna you're gonna wash my truck.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
or I don't even, it's not gonna do anything for the CD. But so I was like, I know. I was like, she's like, due to your social assets on Twitter and Facebook, and you don't have a mailing list, I don't see how you can do that. who are these heavy bidders that, you know,
Oh,
with
yeah, who have the deep pockets.
who have the deep pocket. I told her
Yeah.
we have a lot of people backing us that have deep pockets. They want to help. They want to help us. And,
Right.
you know, who are these people? How are you going to reach them? You need their emails, blah, blah, blah. And I refused to take no for an answer. I said, I'm sorry, but $2,000 is not going to cut it. We need to, and we're going to raise the $5,000. We raised it in 9 days.
Holy cow.
And she said we couldn't do it. We raised $5,000 in 9 days.
Wow.
It was
Over $5,000.
over five. It was almost 6. But
Yeah.
like I said, and I don't say that arrogantly. Like I said, I don't do much.
Right.
I just, you know, do what I can. People have always been so good to us.
Right.
And that's why.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
$5,000 in 9 days. That's just. And where did a bulk of that come from? From user base or people discovering you, or?
The majority of it is family and friends.
Right.
You know, and like I said, we had people in the UK that they bought a CD. I mean,
Right.
it cost me $10 to ship it over there, but they still bought a CD. It was awesome.
Right.
You know, people in Pennsylvania, Florida that I don't even know. I mailed CDs to California. It's like, why? But I don't know why.
They either
but
heard something or something
yeah, it's
resonated,
cool.
right?
And I had someone message us like last week from California. Hey man, I just wanted to stop by and say hi. They're like, really love your sound. He's like, you know, what's it called? Are you ever gonna come out to the West Coast sometime? And I'm just like, that is bizarre because we're just this little band out of Lubbock.
Right. And you're getting calls to come out to Cali.
And I told him, man,
right?
it's gonna be a while for on the West Coast. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much.
I'm just trying to break into Amarillo right now.
Yeah,
right.
seriously,
Yeah.
but it's nuts, man. It's like, why? I don't know why, but we have something good going. And I just, like I said, whether I can say it on here or not, like I give credit to God because that's the reason that people, and like, you know, that's a touchy subject, and we're not going to get too deep into it, but I'm just saying that people have asked me, like even some of my songwriter buddies, hey, let's get together and write a song, or hey man, let's like, how did you do that? And I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, just that's what God wants me to do, and that's why I do it. And
Right.
that's the simplest answer I can provide. It's
Right.
like, you know,
Yeah.
and I can't tell you how we did it that quickly, or why did they like y'all more than us? We were just the opener. Like, I don't know, man. Like, so that's my answer on that. But
Yeah, no,
you know,
man, I get
won't
it.
go off on that
Yeah,
tangent.
and we're not going to I'm not about censorship here. And if that's your
Yeah.
answer, that's a great answer, man. And it's awesome. The whole point of talking about the video was then you spent 20 whole American dollars on that, advertising it on Facebook. Is that right?
Yeah, it was
so
crazy.
get this, ladies and gentlemen. They record a video, right? They find this guy. You know, they work it. They do this video. It's a good video. It's not like it's not an MTV crib style where like, but it's
was on a budget.
but it looks great. And then you go, okay, well, I don't know anything about this Facebook thing, but I'm going to spend $20 on it. And then what happens when you spend that money?
We had more. I think we had in the first few days or 4 days, we had more organic views than we did paid views. Like 13,000 people have seen it, but I've only paid $20.
Right.
And I told our video guy that, and he's like, "Dude, that's He's like, "Wait, how much did you spend?" I was like, 20. He's like, I won't mention any names or nothing. He's just like, "Man, I've had some guys spend like 5 times that or more, and they don't have that many views." It's just
Yeah, and it's not $20 a day. You just spent $20. Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, we're doing this every day. It was just like, here's $20,
It was
and
more.
we'll see what happens.
Say it was organically shared. People just shared it. Their friends shared it. Friends of friends of friends. It went viral a little bit, you know.
And then from that, you got your booking agent.
Yeah, 3 days after the video came out, we had an offer from Atomic, and that was because of the music video. And I said the music video was kind of like, oh yeah, let's make. And it's like, no, it was just like, I think we should make a music video for this, like just kind of off the cuff. Like, I think we should, you know. And
What I love is that you go in the totally different, right? You're making CDs when no one's buying CDs. And then you're like, music video, even MTV refuses to show music videos, but we're going to make one because we think, and it works out. Like you say, it goes viral. People are sharing it organically. You guys find your booking agent, which really leads you guys up to today, where you guys are trying to expand your reach, trying to get more shows, trying to get out there more. How does that work? Because you guys have an interesting dynamic that how many of your players are still in college?
2 of them, and Laura too. Laura's getting her doctorates.
What are you getting your doctorate in?
I'm actually getting my PhD in music. So,
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So you're pot committed at this point. Yeah, literally and figuratively,
But
right?
I'm almost done with that. So
So,
then they're
but, I
going to
mean-
have to be calling me doctor.
Right, that's great. Dr. Laura? Yeah, that'd be great. Whatever.
Dr. Jane.
Yeah, Dr. Jane, I like that better. So that's got to be unique because on top of trying to get the business side and get out there and get known, you guys have the real world constraints of classes and homework and stuff like that.
It's just another thing I could worry about, or I could just say it is what it is, and
Right.
we're gonna do fine. We're
But-
gonna, it's something else, like my guitar player I have a test tomorrow, or
Right.
hey man, I can't leave Friday until this time because I have a test or something. Like, we'll work around it, but it's not going to change, Flatland's not going to fall apart because kids are in school.
And the thing when we talked about this last week, when we were kind of talking about, the thing that struck me was that, never once did you say, yeah, we'll just find some different people. Like we'll just find some non-college grads, or people that are already graduated. That the loyalty is there to keep this group intact.
I think, the concept of a band is kind of fallen off as well. Like people, there's a lot of, I could have been a Clodo Cordero band. I don't think we would have been as successful. I think the songs would have been the same.
Right.
But I wanted to, like you said, I wanted to give that to, don't put the spotlight on me. I didn't play guitar. I didn't play fiddle on this song. I didn't play the drums. Like, give them some spotlight. I looked up to Turnpike so much. And the thing is, I knew the face of every person, of every member in Turnpike. And they seemed to have a quality, a character, and, because they're a band.
Right.
And I can't tell you some other guys in the circuit that aren't bands. They're bands, you know what I mean? But, that's just so-and-so's fiddle player. Or it's like, no, they're in Flatland.
You're right, yeah. So instead of that person plays with Cleto, this is part of the band.
It's not just me. I mean, it's a group effort, you know what I mean? And
no,
I didn't want to record. I did not want to hit record, and we didn't have I think some people try to, I don't know. We always had a game plan. I've always had a game plan, but I don't know, like some people want to do stuff before you have this thing, like record, but you don't have a band. Or
right.
I always wanted to play with people that I enjoyed, and I almost recorded, I wasn't just an idea, but it didn't go through, like, I'm going to come make it happen 2 years ago.
Right.
Because I had the songs, but
right.
I wanted it to be my band on there because, guys like Turnpike and, like, anyone can have a studio quality album with studio musicians, but guess what? It's going to sound the same.
Right.
But yeah, maybe we're not studio musicians, but what you see is what you get, and you get it on the CD, and then you go to the show, and it's the same. So, and I always wanted that. And like I said, Flatland falls apart, all that stuff, or we get older and we decide, hey guys, we had a good run, it's time to call it quits. Maybe I'll look at a studio musician or something, but I can always call these cats up and say, hey man, I'm recording another CD. You guys want to hop in the studio? But yeah, man, it's just, like I said, life's about making relationships with people, and like you said, it's not about the money. It's about, and like, I can't live off of people's good words, and they say, oh, we liked your song. That's not going to feed me every month. But, it feeds your soul, like I always wanted to.
Or if that person, likes you enough, then goes, hey, I got a podcast and we want, or,
exactly.
Like Chase with websites. I mean, like if you can influence the influencers, by putting out good stuff, then they spread that message for you. So it's not even what you guys have to do. Now it's like we have this whole crew that will help kind of spread the message and get it out there.
Man. That's the way to do it, man. Like I said, I don't have a clue.
Right.
That's why I don't take credit for, people tell me nice stuff, and I just feel like I can't. I tell them thank you, and my dad gave me awesome advice, said like, let it go to your heart, not your head, as you become a household name. And he told me that whenever we had a little story, we were in the paper, the local, and the Texas Tech paper maybe, we played a little benefit show, Crickets. We're nobodies. Then. We're still nobodies, but we were nothing then, and it was just a nice little thing someone wanted to do for us, and we were just a cover band, and my dad's like, I sent it to him, hey dad, making you proud, made it in the paper.
Right.
It's nothing to look at now, but the time, and he's like, as you become a household name, let the fame and all the good things people say, let it go to your heart, not your head. And that just always stuck with me. And
yeah, because you've seen the opposite side many times.
Where,
man, someone gets a little bit of press, they're like, fuck you, I'm out, bitches.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Right.
And I said, I won't mention any names because that's not the way I am, but I've heard it's heartbreaking because everyone is, like you said, are influenced. There's influencers, like people that I look up to a lot. Some of the people that I moved to Lubbock for.
Right.
Man, I want to do that, what they're doing. And I've just heard so many terrible things about people. And I'm like, man, like people can just say one bad thing about you and no one's going to say, oh, but he also did this, this, and that. He's a great guy, but that just was one isolated incident.
Right. But
no, man, like if you're a jerk or you're a fucking asshole to people or all you care about is yourself, like people are going to know that. And like, why would they going to spend their hard-earned money to go watch some prick on stage that won't sign your autograph or that
actually
won't take a picture with you, or they're just a jerk? Like, no, man, I don't want be that.
Yeah, I can't even remember the band's name. That's how much of an impact they had on me. But they rocked up at Blue Light. It was Chase and I. We were up there. We were the only people. It was like a private show almost, And they get off the stage. We give them a few minutes to break down. We go up and do, hey, you guys were great. We loved it, stuff. And like they could care less what we had to say. And they like kept looking over the bar. And it's like I wanted to tell the guy, like, I'm sorry. Did you have a whole audience here? Because it just looks like it's just us. Like there's 4 people in this bar. You're 2, we're 2. Do the math. But it just after that, I was like, man, I'm done. Like, if you can't even accept me coming up to you and being like, hey, you were great. And like, I wasn't asking for an autograph. I wasn't asking for anything. It's just like, but it does amaze me that people, and then you're like, okay, like, who is this person again? Like, what is the deal? So I think humility is always a great thing.
Way to go, man. Maybe it's not humble to say you're humble. Oh, I'm humble.
Yeah. I'm humble. I mean? Humble brag. Hashtag, yeah,
Hashtag
right. Yeah.
I'm humble.
Yeah, right, yeah.
No,
it's like how humble I am by being humble. Yeah,
no,
right.
But yeah, dude, it's like I said, I never wanted to be like people that I was like, I can't, man, like, what? Are you sure that they did that or they said that? Or
right.
They said that to you? Or, someone that, they were big fans of, and they're like, man, they acted like that to you? And they're like, yeah. It's like, man, I don't ever want, no one's ever going to be able to say that about me unless it was, I'm like 3 sheets to the wind, I'm just wasted, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not myself at the end of a show or something.
If you wake up the next day and you have photos on your phone you don't remember taking, you're like, I'm going to post this to Instagram.
Yeah.
And,
But yeah, man, it's, why do something that, you don't like? Like, you don't like in other people, why would you do that to someone else?
Right.
So, yeah.
So you guys have the album. It got released. You guys had a big album release party. I want to share this story with you. So you guys, it's a teaching moment from me to you. So we go to the show. You guys packed it. You guys had a great audience. I'm very impressed. Every time you guys play, you guys have a great audience that seems to come and support. So I go up and I'm like, hey, yeah, t-shirt. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's $20 and the CD's $7. And I was like, okay, great. I was like, but I'm not carrying this all night. So I'm like, I'll just pick it up the night. So you guys rock it out. We have a great time. I go up there, right? I've had a few adult beverages to go up there, right? And I go up there and I'm like, yeah, I want a CD and thing. And she's like, it's $30. And I was like, no, it's not. It's $27. And she goes, yeah, we take advantage of drunk people at the end of the night. And I was just like,
I didn't know that either.
And I laughed so hard because I thought, that's brutal honesty. I love it. So I paid her the $30. It's the best money I've spent. But I just laughed. I was just like that. If you're not doing that intentionally, you need to do that.
Well, they're lawyers.
If you buy before the show, it's $7. But if you wait till after, it's $10. Thank you very much. So it was good. It was definitely good.
It's funny. I felt bad. I was like, man, I owe him $3.
No. It was great. I griped at Chase. I was like, did you catch that? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I got nothing. I was like, okay, well, good. Me either. So no, it was good. I think you guys should do that at all your shows. And speaking of shows, you guys are going to be touring a lot more. Have you guys done or had a lot of windshield time so far, or is this kind of going to be a new experience, kind of being on the road? 5 people packed into one small, tiny van.
Yeah, my parents are awesome. They bought me a new truck, but we're not in a van yet.
Right.
I'm sure when that time comes, it'll be soon. But we've just done West Texas, really, Amarillo, Lubbock, and Midland. And we're fixing to be playing places like, Fort Worth, San Angelo,
Houston, right.
Austin, Houston. Yeah, we're fixing to be all over.
So what are you looking forward to by doing that? And what's the one thing you're like, oh, man?
Oh, dude, yeah, just playing for people that don't know who the hell we are,
right.
And making new relationships, Yeah, that's what I'm most looking forward to. I'm not being on the road sometimes it gets old, but we all, like, the thing about us, we all enjoy each other's company for the most part. We can get annoyed with each other, but we just laugh and shit on the road. Everyone's saying something stupid. Johnny's buying pork rinds at the gas station.
The car smells so bad.
Jason, yeah, our drummer Jason, just that guy's a goofball. He just
just have a no corn nuts policy. That's like, I can handle pork rinds, but corn nuts, like especially like the sour cream and range or whatever, it's like, oh my god, it's like, yeah, just eat sardines or something. It'll smell better than that. Yeah,
that's mostly,
we're like a family, a big relationship.
Well, how about you? I mean, being the only girl on the road, right? Having to deal with these sweaty, stinky guys who are like, oh, pull my finger and fart, because you guys are family. Like, that's gotta be. I mean, do you have brothers and sisters that have prepared you? I'm
the middle of 5.
Oh, okay.
But I had one brother, and he doesn't do any of that. So it's an experience. But I don't know.
It was an experience. It traumatized me. And
I just sit in the middle and
right.
take it.
Can we open a window, please?
No, it was funny. We went with No Drug County over Easter, and so it was 10 guys and me in a van. And after that, I was just like, well,
I'm part
you
of
know,
the crew, right?
No one held back.
I think
They're
I,
just
no,
like,
it was just,
it was raunch fest. Just everyone just being, guys.
I changed in a trailer, and then they decided to lock me in the trailer, and I was like, yep.
Nice.
Yep.
I like that. Well, the easygoing personality is definitely going to help on the road.
Yeah, it's like she has, 4 older brothers. Even though she's the oldest, everyone's gonna look out for her 'cause she's a girl. But she can fend for herself. But I mean, it's not like we treat her like a girl. We're just like
They don't?
No, we don't treat her like a girl. We don't play no favorites or nothing. But or also, if there's a guy being creepy with her, she's got 4 dudes in the band and be like, "Hey, dude, just back off."
Yeah. You know what? Actually, she's not interested in talking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. We have to go somewhere that doesn't involve you being
Yeah,
here.
seriously. So
One of the things I noticed last night, kind of just observing from afar, is the tightness of the music community. So you guys were there kind of hanging out before the show, and there were different artists kind of coming up. And what was interesting to me was to see the dynamic of the artist kind of having this super tight knit, almost like, hey, these are my friends that I haven't seen in a while. But also what was interesting to me is kind of see the dynamic of other people trying to approach you guys during that time. And I don't know the best way to describe it. Basically, like you saw people that were either fans or maybe even like worked for the venue or kind of were friendly. But it was interesting to me to see that it was like they would be let in a little bit, but there was still this tight community that it was like, it's just us. Like, it's just our moment right now. We're sharing this time with each other and like no one else. And since I've got to know more musicians, I've noticed that more and more, where it's like, if you're not a musician, you're never going to get into that group like you would if you played in a band, because they don't experience the same stuff that you do, no matter if they're friends or family or people that even work for you guys. And I got to think that's pretty awesome to know that you're supported by a group of people at all times that would help. I don't know if that's really a question more than a statement, but do you guys notice that, or do you feel that?
Yeah, I was, this guy actually, it's pretty strange he said that. One of the guys that helped put it on, he was telling me about that. So do you know Rodney Parker or do you know Charlie Shafter? I was like, you know those guys? I'm like, thing is, I know them, but I don't know them.
Right.
They're Lubbock songwriters. Or they're from, around the area. They play here a lot. It's like, I know of them. And I mean, I'm sure they know me by name too. Well, I don't mean that arrogantly either, but it's like, I'm sure they know who I am, but, we just know each other. Like Rodney Parker played my guitar last night. I don't even know who he is. I mean, we never shooken hands or nothing.
Right.
So he played my guitar. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just like he said, it's close-knit with just, I know like every Lubbock songwriter down here, like just by hanging out at the Blue Light or, golfing or, you know what I mean? Like it's so tight knit.
That is crazy, kind of going back to where we got started. You had your choice between Austin and here, and Austin is Music City. It's got 6th Street, you got all that stuff going on. What made you say, like, okay, I'm going to choose Lubbock? And then also the second part of the question is, I've noticed a lot more people like Dalton Domino and more people that are coming from the 806 that are releasing albums and kind of making a name in this area from being in this area or around. So why do you think you pick Lubbock over Austin? And why do you think Lubbock is kind of starting to get a name for the Texas music scene, if you will?
It's crazy. Like I said, whenever I think from the outside eye or people that aren't musically inclined or just hear what people say, like Austin's like, oh, live music capital of the world. But to musicians, no one talks about, like musicians never play in Austin.
It's true.
Unless it's like at the Nutty Brown Cafe.
You don't really get paid either, because there's so many musicians. So some have a fighting chance and love it.
It's just bizarre because I wouldn't move. I mean, I'd move to Austin to live there, but you never hear of musicians playing there because, like you said, you don't make any money.
No, it's true.
It's like that or Stubbs, right?
Yeah.
But that's only going to be like established, bands that I've seen at Stubbs. I don't think they have like an open mic night, or maybe they do. All right. Well, I know that we're against the time crunch, and I kind of want to wrap everything up. So we talked about where you started. We talked about where you guys are right now. And you seem to be a pretty goal-driven individual, or someone that clearly has a plan. So if we're having this conversation a year from today.
I don't know if I have a plan.
Right. Or at least an outline.
I have a vision.
So a year from today, what is your vision for Flatland Cavalry?
A year from today. What's today? June? My birthday. It's June 15th.
It's your birthday.
This is actually a great question. What are your goals on your birthday?
It's not a great question when the guy's hungover. Like, I don't want to think, sir. I just want to have a good time. Yeah.
A year from today, I think we'll have a top 10 song on the Texas music charts. I think we'll be an established band that with demand that people want, like a must-see act. And yeah, I'll be as bold to say possibly we'll have a number 1. The full CD will come out, and it's gonna be, people. We did the EP on purpose to get people excited, but we're gonna come back and knock it out of the park with the full album and have a few number 1s on there, and we're gonna, letting people know that, we're the next thing,
The next Luke Bryant. Is that okay? Yeah.
I'm going to start shaking my ass more on
We're
stage.
gonna get him some skinny
wearing
jeans.
There you go. Yeah, gotta get some skinny jeans.
Birthday present.
Yeah, man. I guess I'll boldly say that this is our breakout year. But next year will be our, when people really know who we are all over Texas. And I mean, you're gonna have people that don't know who you are, but we're gonna have people who are gonna like our music all over Texas. That's my goal. I want to open up for Turnpike, Randy, Wade. I want to go golfing with Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen. These are some goals. Hey, man, you got a dream.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to be the naysayer. You don't like that person to be like, that's not realistic. Like
I said, people can tell you what you can't do, but like Larry Joe Taylor puts on the biggest music festival in Texas, And I'm not saying arrogantly. I'm just making an example. Like Larry Joe emailed me Sunday, hey, just wanted to invite you to our annual pool party. No need to bring booze or food. Text me if you can come. And then he signed off LJT, and we were texting yesterday.
Right.
I'm texting the guy that puts on the biggest music festival in Texas, and I'm telling him, hey, he texted me.
Right.
Hey, man, just want to let you know, if you want to bring a guest, we'll have another guest bedroom if you'd like to bring a guest. And I told him, hey, thank you very much. I was like, hey, I'm Hispanic. Do I need to bring any chips and salsa or guacamole?
Right.
And he said, no, but we are going to be pouring concrete.
Nice.
It's like, dude, I'm shooting the breeze with
Yeah.
Larry Joe Taylor.
Yeah.
And if you would have asked me last year, you're never going to meet Larry Joe Taylor. You're never going to be friends with him. Like, you just got a dream, man. And
Right.
I have big dreams. We're going to do awesome things. And Laura's going to get her doctorates, and Jason's going to, graduate from OT school, but everyone's going to be successful. But Flatland's going to be the next big thing. And saying it from a humble place,
Humble brag.
Yeah,
Hashtag
humble brag. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
right, yeah.
But yeah, man, you got a dream, because why are we doing this? What are you going to do next year, Cleto? I hope we play the blue light again, or I don't know what I'm going to do. No, you got a dream, man.
I agree with that 100%. So I lied. That wasn't my last. My last question to you is this: how is the best way for fans from afar, up close, whatever, to support local and live music, but more than that, live musicians like yourself? Because I know Pledge Music you guys did for the campaign, but I'm not interested in making a record label rich. I'm not interested in making a venue rich. I'm interested in helping any way that I can with the actual bands themselves. So for you guys, what's the way that people can best do that?
Go to a show and buy a CD if you like the shirt.
At the end of the thing,
Yeah.
pay the extra $3.
Yeah,
right.
show, if you're a little bit drunk, maybe leave a tip.
Right.
No, dude, just go to a show and enjoy the show, and hopefully enjoy it enough that you'll buy the CD afterwards. And because it's iTunes is obviously the easiest route, but if you do go to the show and you want to have a hard copy, that's where we make money, is off of merch sales, or it gets us further down the road.
Well, see, and I've even done this. I've gone up to bands and I'll say, "Is your album on Spotify?" And they'll, "Yeah, it is." Okay, how much is the album? It's $10. Okay, right. There's the $10. You keep the CD because I'm just going to download it on Spotify. But that way, I get what I want, and you get it, and then you get to keep that CD, so you can sell that to somebody that's not. Because I told you this when we hung out last week, but this is how far I think society's come. It's like we were driving back from another musician show. We bought an album, and we were it was on Spotify, and we were trying to download it. We couldn't, and we were like, damn it, we're just not going to be able to listen to it. And my buddy's wife hands us the CD and is like, or you could just put the CD in the CD player. And that was totally not even in our frame of reference. Like, we're trying to make satellites align to get this music to us. And he's like, oh, we have this disc that you could put in. So
that's funny.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys got to go out. You got to support live music. You got to support amazing, real, true artists that write their music, that sing their music, that record their music, that are out there every day for you. Flatland Cavalry, this has been, I'm just going to say, the best interview that I've done
I appreciate
on the podcast.
that very much.
And I appreciate you.
It didn't even feel like a long time. Thank you.
No, I'm glad to do it, and I'm glad. Thank you for waking up in your hungover state and still making it here.
My eyes are getting redder at the minute. From just trying not to fall out of this chair.
There you go. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Everyone, thanks so much for listening. I look forward to doing this again. If you guys have any questions or comments, you know how to reach me. And be sure to go check out Flatland Cavalry at their domain and soon-to-be website, which is...
Dude, good call. I was just about to say that. Flatlandcavalry.com. Chase, the web guy, actually hooked us up with that website. So it'll be up soon. And it's Cavalry, Cavalry, not Calvary. We're not a Christian band. At least not yet.
So don't Google Flatland Cavalry. It's Cavalry.
There you go. Yeah, it might be after this interview. And pick up their CD on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, wherever you buy it. Come May, it's the EP. It's well worth the listen and the $7 or $10 that you have to pay for it. So thanks, everybody. We'll talk real soon.